Hello everybody, welcome back at Sport Federation TV, where of course, as you know, every week we take a look at what's happening with sport in the Western Cape, and it's great to have you along. Right folks, a nice full show for you this evening. We're going to be catching up with Tiffany Wells from Western Cape Climbing. They've got some fantastic activities running at the moment. We're also going to catch up with Western Cape Handball, and we have Andy Berglund, Major League Baseball coach, coming into the studio. He is, of course, helping with baseball in the Western Cape and the national team, so that's going to be very exciting. But in studio with me now, Roxanne Clarke. Roxanne, welcome. It's our first time to have you back in studio. It's been 2 years of talking online.
JP, thank you for having me as always. It's kind of exciting to be in the studio with you for the first time, must say.
Yeah, so now we have to do a whole lot of catch up, and I think many of our viewers are going to be happy to just have see you on air with us physically. So this is great. But let's start at the beginning. I mean, it has been 2 years of doing things online. Life for you guys has been different.
Yeah, COVID obviously really changed things in the world of sport, but tennis bounced back quickly, and I think because tennis was socially distanced from the start, the sport actually found that a lot more people wanted to play tennis. So in terms of tennis and getting back to normal with South African tennis, things are pretty much on track.
Yeah, so when we talk about things being on track, then, I mean, if we look at some of the activities you've had, a hell of a lot of success with the international space even.
Yeah.
And then, of course, national and provincial and district and club level, all these different levels have been working for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to have the club tennis because that's basically the base of tennis here, especially in the Cape Town area. And, we've gotten those international tournaments for juniors and for seniors back up and running. The junior schedule is quite full,
yeah.
And especially there's a swing coming up now happening in Pretoria. And, there's other kind of formats that have also picked up, like beach tennis and paddle tennis. So.
Yeah.
Tennis is doing well.
So when we talk about these, call it these different levels, it's for you guys. I mean, just run us through the seasons. I mean, we've also spoken about in the last 2 years about the difference between social tennis and league tennis. You gave us quite an explanation on that. But maybe for the viewers, let's just run through that again, because a lot of people still play tennis socially, and that never stopped.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, tennis is a socially distant sport, so people were able to meet up with their friends and play a game of tennis. And I'm based in the Greenpoint area, and there's a lot of people on tennis courts playing there. And it helps, like I said to you, there's this new, well, it's not new in Europe, but it's sort of taken, I don't know about South Africa, but definitely the Western Cape by storm is paddle tennis. So it's a lot faster, it's got the squash element, so people are playing more. And then, of course, like the leagues happen twice a year, so that's always exciting. And as I said, I participated in the league this year, so that's very exciting because, that's really the heart of tennis.
Yeah. Of course, one of the things that we spoke about a lot also was you're the captain of the Billie Jean King Cup, which has been a great education for me to find out more about women's tennis, in fact. Whereas I think many people didn't know that, is that the Billie Jean King Cup is the actual women's version of the Davis Cup. Yeah,
it's something that should actually be in the media more.
Yeah, get more publicity.
Yeah, it should definitely get more publicity. It is the World Cup of tennis for women.
Yeah.
And it works a little bit differently to Davis Cup. They have, I think it's sort of coming in line now with the way those tournaments are planned. We have our event coming up in July, so we travel to North Macedonia. I know you've probably never heard of that, but
well, I believe it's somewhere in the Balkans.
Yeah, in the Balkans. In the Balkans, it's in Europe.
It's in Europe. Yeah.
So we'll play on red clay, and it'll be exciting. We're still busy putting our team together, so
yeah,
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you've been telling us about that. It's been quite exciting to listen to hear you talk about how you're putting your team together. I mean, that's quite a challenge for you because you've got players from around the country. We've
got players who are based all over the world. Some are based in the US, some are traveling regularly, and there will be instances where the scheduling clashes, so we might have some players who are not able to play, and then we'll call up somebody else. So it's tricky, but we're trying to make it happen. So hopefully we'll have a good team.
Tell me a little bit about. I do want to talk to you also about some of the local athletes that have had such a lot of success. I mean, you've got athletes that are doing well at a Grand Slam or a national level. They've been playing around the world. Maybe let's just talk about that quickly. I mean, that's been also a good success for you guys. I know you told us about the fact that some of the players were looking to qualify for Grand Slams.
Yeah, especially when it comes to women's tennis. With men's tennis, we've had a steady flow of players that have the opportunity to play professionally. But with women's tennis, it's been challenging over the last few years. So we have some players now who are breaking the top 100 of the ITF juniors, which gives them a better chance if they wish to play professional tennis. So it's always a good thing to have visibility at the junior Grand Slams, and still it's hard to get into because even with a top 100 ranking, you need to be ranked in the top 60, maybe top 50 in order to get into the main draw. So there's still qualifying to face. We have one athlete, Heike Janse van Vieren, who's from George, who is trying to play the Grand Slams this year. I don't know if she's going to get into the French Open or Wimbledon, but maybe the US Open. We'll see.
So let's talk a little bit about your other side of things, which is, of course, development, Western Cape Tennis development. I mean, you're also head of development for Western Cape Tennis. Am I right? Well, anyway, let's talk about Western Cape Tennis development. That's a big job, but it's also a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of elements that come with development, and there are a lot of people who play big roles. I think the development center in 3 Anchor Bay plays a huge role, and the head coach there, Khotso Matsejo, he does a great job of trying to get out to sometimes remote areas, traveling to the West Coast. We've done some workshops. I've just been involved in a coach mentorship program now, which is going to kick off. We're still finalizing all the candidates. So that will give coaches an opportunity to develop as well, and then subsequently have those coaches in their areas training young players who could be from a township,
So what are the kind of things that would take place in a coach's mentorship program?
Well, I think the first goal of the coach mentorship program, which is sponsored by BNP Paribas from Tennis South Africa, is to get those coaches qualified. So that's the first step, is to try and get them to have qualifications so that they can get out into the field and actually work and develop players. And then after that, I think it would be to upskill them, offer them assistance in any way that they can, advice, just on training, all those kind of things.
How does it start? How do you become a tennis coach?
Well, you must have an interest in tennis.
Well, that's the first thing.
Yeah, and then, like I've said on the show before, the first course you can do a volunteers course, which is a teacher's course that they do. But of course, it's recommended that you do the play tennis course, which teaches using the red, orange, and green dot balls, which are slower balls and modified courts and modified equipment. For example, you wouldn't have a 5-year-old soccer player playing on a big field. So you modify the size of the field, and so that's basically what this program is about when you do the play tennis course.
I suppose the entry point, is it primarily at school level that you get most of your startups, or is it at club level?
Well, that's a tricky one. Schools, I think maybe many years ago would have been schools, but not currently. There are some huge tennis schools, actually, you could call them, like Kiro.
Right.
There are a bunch of schools that really even give tennis scholarships, but at primary school level, I think that's a little bit hard. So mostly it would either be clubs or tennis academies. People would just see someone and, oh, my kid wants to play tennis, so let me call this number that I found. Yeah.
But that's great. I mean, that means there's general access for the public. You find a club near you and you sign up.
There's general access for the public, except for people who are maybe in townships or rural areas. It's challenging for them. So those are the people that we have to try to reach with development programs.
Finally, what comes next now for Roxanne Clarke?
Well, we had we recently just came back from the ITF Confederation of African Tennis Zonals, which took place in Zimbabwe a few weeks ago. And all our teams qualified in under 12 and under 14. No, excuse me, under 14 and under 16. And so now we travel to Egypt for the next phase, which is the African Junior Team Competition. And that takes place next month on the 20th of June. So hopefully we can get some teams that qualify from there to the Junior Davis Cup and Billie Jean King Cup, and also the World Team Competition.
Well, it certainly sounds like you have your work cut out for you. I can imagine that you're very busy. But it's great to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
Now that you know where the studio is, we look forward to having you here more often.
You might have difficulty getting rid of me then, JP.
Yeah, well, it's here for you guys, and we'll leave it at that, and we'll say, fantastic stuff on Western Cape Tennis. You guys are certainly making South Africa proud. From development to high performance, yeah, we're looking forward to finding out more.
Thank you so much.
Right, folks, Roxanne Clarke in studio with us. Finally in studio with us, which is what we've been waiting for a long time. But this is for us now. That's what the show is all about: is getting our sports coaches, administrators, and athletes into the studio to come tell us more about sport in the province. We'll take a break. When we come back, we carry on talking sport in the province. Back.